The best wholesaling real estate business setup for 2025. What is up, guys? Zach in here. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to set up every single type of wholesaling real estate business, from knowing the systems, the flow of the deal, and exactly how you can make your first $100,000 wholesaling real estate, or if you're somebody who's already made 100 grand wholesaling, how you can make your first $1 million, because this system is plug and play. This is a system that I currently use, and a system anybody who has no money in wholesaling can use to make 100 grand, and then for me, millions of dollars in this wholesaling real estate game. The truth is, there are 3 different types of wholesaling real estate businesses to really look at, and they keep getting crazier, right? So I currently run 3 wholesaling businesses, right? I'm basically maxed out. I have a local wholesaling business out here in Florida. I have a JV wholesaling business, which is massive, and a massive virtual wholesaling operations. The truth is, for a lot of people scaling, it's really, really difficult to scale out a local market. But when you start adding extremely profitable virtual wholesaling markets and then add JVs, which basically have 0 marketing costs, you can start creating a very lucrative opportunity. And if you have no money at all, you can create a lucrative opportunity which has no marketing cost at all. So let's kind of break down the local wholesaling first. I think this is where a lot of beginners kind of get started. When I'm looking at setting up a local wholesaling business, right? Let's say we're doing it in Florida. Let's say I live in Tennessee. I'm going to do it in Knoxville, right? You want to get a good CRM. If you have no money, I would definitely recommend you use like Podio. Now, if you have money for it, I would definitely use the X-Lead CRM. So it's called Ninja Mode. It's a really good CRM. It's got e-signing, all that cool stuff. But if you have no money, Podio's free. X-Leads get a 7-day free trial, but you got to pay for it. So definitely do it on that end. Now for lists, it's going to be pretty much all the above. And what I mean by this is we are going to use government lists. We're going to use paid lists. We're going to be using earned lists. The truth about wholesaling real estate, especially when you're really, really getting started here, is with no money, we're going to have to use free strategies, right? So let me highlight in red what are the free lists. Pretty much the only free list you get in wholesaling is going to be a government list or maybe a Zillow for sale by owner. The truth is, a paid list, if you go to X-Leads, right, yeah, you get a 7-day free trial, but you got to pay for the software, which I think is awesome. You got the skip tracing, but like still most people, if you have no money, they can't afford that. Now, earned lists, right? This is drawing for dollars, reverse drawing for dollars, lists we have to earn. Unfortunately, we still have to get in our car and pay for gas to get this list done. Now, we have a massive advantage using earned list in local wholesaling because my competition who's virtually wholesaling in Tennessee, if I live in Tennessee, they can't drive for dollars. So I have a huge advantage here for success. Now, to also include this too, paid lists are technically the most superior if you're looking to scale out an operation, but they are the most expensive. So it's best to have a mix of all of them if you're really looking to scale out to millions of dollars. But government lists and earned lists are basically the only lists you really need to know. Now with skip tracing, right, there's a lot of different type of marketing systems to go out here and do. So each one's gonna be a little different on the system you want. So let's actually talk about marketing systems before skip tracing, right? Because the type of marketing systems you can do in a local wholesaling business is extremely varied, right? So I always recommend everyone does some sort of drawing for dollars if it's local. If you can cold call, if you can text. I absolutely love email blasting right now. I'm gonna write DBS right here, which stands for digital bandit signs. You can even use real estate agents, right? Or even do an on market. And possibly, if this is your thing, you can do internet leads. I'm not a big fan of internet leads. I don't recommend them, but it is part of a system and a business guide that I see a lot of wholesalers around the country still kind of use, right? SEO, PPC, PPL, if that's your thing, go do it. I don't think it's worth the ROI, but if you're willing to try to make millions of dollars, go crazy. I mean, I know it's like 50-50. Some people do okay. Other people lose their shirt on it. Like they'll lose 50, 100 grand. So I would not recommend internet leads for a local wholesaling operation. So I'm just gonna cross that off right there, especially for a local market. So this is what people do. I'd get rid of internet leads. The rest, I'm a little iffy on. The rest I like. I would probably get rid of real estate agents or on-market wholesaling there too, and really stick to the fundamentals, right? So I'm gonna put a little red check next to the ones I think beginner wholesalers should do, and then leave it for people who are looking to scale up, right? So if you're a beginner, I would say 100% drawing for dollars. Like, what else are you not doing? Get in your car, look for ugly house. More specifically, I would try to get 100 drawing for dollars leads a week if you were looking to get your first wholesaling deal. This is a surefire way to get a great deal. Now, again, I mean, cold calling's technically free, texting's technically free, email's technically free, digital bandit signs are technically free. This is the benefit of wholesaling locally. You kind of have a quadruple option or even 5 or 6 options of how you can get a deal, right? It's definitely up to you. There's a lot on the menu to order here for success. And one of my favorite things here is a combination of all these, right? Because I get people telling me all the time, Zach, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to become successful. Okay, well, go do all of it. But the problem is not a lot of people are wanting to do all of it, right? They only want to do a certain amount. So what I'm going to tell you to do here is, as a complete beginner, I'm probably going to tell you about 100 drawing for dollars leads. You can call at least 1,000 people a week and maybe throw in like 500 texts, do a bunch of email blasting, at least 2 digital bandit signs a day. I think that's really good. If you're telling me, Zach, I can put 40, 50 hours a week in this business, go crazy. Now, for someone who doesn't have that much time, right? I think 50 drawing for dollars leads works, as many calls and texts as you can do. But what I'm starting to make a non-negotiable, if you have X leads or a software that has free unlimited skip tracing, there's not really much that has it, especially on the scale of X leads, but email blasting, right? So in freewholesaling.com, my free real estate wholesaling course, I came out with a new course this month called the Email Offer Generator. And basically what this is it teaches you how to email blast motivated sellers on a large scale, completely for free. Like, no joke, completely for free. Like, I teach you in there how you could send 1,000 emails to motivated sellers every single day. So that's 30,000 emails to send every single month. Now the most on X leads you can get is like 60,000 emails a month. So maybe just stick to that. But this is a system I believe anyone who has no money or a ton of money should be doing. We're getting a lot of leads. We're getting a ton of deals doing this. And again, it is extremely underutilized. It's one of the least saturated marketing channels I've ever seen in the wholesaling space. Now, you might be like, well, Zach, I have to send 30,000 emails to get a wholesale deal? Bro, it takes you 5 minutes a day to go send the emails out. That is like 3 hours a month to get a $40,000 wholesale deal. I don't want to hear it, right? So I think everyone should be email blasting. Everyone should post digital bandit signs, right, on Craigslist, Facebook groups, at least 2 a day, and you're good to go. Now, if you're looking to like scale out, Zach, I'm making 200 grand a year, I want to make $1 million. Well, you're supposed to do this at scale, right? So drawing for dollars, it's kind of hard to scale that out. You can still do it, you can't, whatever you're doing, right? But I would definitely get a triple line dialer for the cold calling. I would get a large text blast system. Keep the emails and keep the digital bandit signs, and you can expand that like crazy. Now, you can add some direct mail to this if you definitely want to kind of go on a higher end, but that's if you're looking to really go from like $250,000 to $500,000 in wholesaling. But the skip tracing side, right? So for calling, texting, and emailing, we need a lot of emails and phone numbers, right? Now, again, you can do free skip tracing at truepeoplesearch.com and cyberbackgroundchecks.com. I absolutely love that. But I get it told every day, Zach, I don't want to spend 50 hours a week skip tracing. I don't want to copy and paste in the websites. I want a website where I can bulk import and get as many skip traces as I need. Well, that's what I tell you guys. I sound like I'm promoting this, but honestly, this is actually completely free. xleads.com. The reason I say it's free is, yes, it's a paid software, but it's got a 7-day free trial, which means you get 1,000 free skip traces if you sign up for the trial. So if you have no money, I'd go to XLeads, get that free 1,000 skip traces so you can call and text, bulk import, get 1,000, and you're good to go. For most people, it's definitely probably a good investment. But if you do not have the money and you can't do it, there's plenty of people like that too. I 100% recommend truepeoplesearch.com or another website called cyberbackgroundchecks.com. Now, it's going to take a lot more time to skip trace manually, but if you're a player and you want to grind hard, you're good to go. But one of my other favorite methods to do is, the reason I'm mentioning XLeads is there's a lot of XLeads members who have like the X plan, the Pro plan, where they're getting 25,000 all the way up to 60,000 skip traces a month, and it resets every 30 days. So you can find a lot of people in ZachDiscord.com, freewholesaling.com, heck, the comment section below. We're going to talk about a JV system here too. These people are looking at JV with you, and so what they do is maybe they only spent 20,000 of their 60,000 skip traces for the month on the X plan. Well, they got 40,000 skip traces to do in the next 6 days, or boom, it gets reset to 0. So you're gonna find a lot of X and Pro Plan X Leads members who are looking to JV offer to give you like 10, 20, 30,000 skip traces completely for free if you will split the deal with them 50-50. Now, I think this is an amazing thing, and this is why I give 60,000 to the X Plan members, because you could give those out in exchange for JVs, and it's an awesome split. You gotta be a man or woman of your word here and actually do a split. Don't steal the deal from the person who sent you the information and the skip traces. I think it's an amazing way to get wholesaling deals. Then we kind of go back to closing methods. Again, if you're locally wholesaling, I just think the appointment model with the offer is the best way to close a seller. Now, there's plenty of stuff in freewholesaling.com, my free wholesaling course. I mean, did I mention I have a free wholesaling course? Did I mention that it has all the recordings of me closing sellers, cold calling, all these things? Yeah, it's called freewholesaling.com. It's my free wholesale course. The reason is, I want to go show you how to set up a Podio CRM. I want to show you for an hour how to set up your X-Lead CRM. But this is not a video that is going to be 16 hours long where I show you just the nitty-gritty of all the little things in wholesaling. So I got freewholesaling.com. It's my free wholesale course. I break down all this stuff. You might be like, well, Zach, how do I pull a government list? How do I pull a probate? How do I drive for dollars? Can you just go in the car with me, drive for dollars? I have videos in freewholesaling.com of my staff members, people that are in my company, driving for dollars, giving tutorials to other people that we hire, and you get the entire manual completely for free. But I would definitely set an appointment, make an offer if you're locally wholesaling. Now on Dispositions, right, there's plenty of ways to find cash buyers. I'm gonna tell you a system of at least Facebook groups. So Facebook's a great one, Zillow, using real estate agents and X-Leads is gonna be the best mix for your dispositions. Now, Facebook's pretty much the easiest one, right? Because you go in these Facebook groups, find people who are cash buyers. I have everything in freewholesaling.com on how to actually post and get Facebook cash buyers the right way, how to vet them, show you how to go to Zillow and find the 4 rents and how to call them, see if they're looking to buy any more rentals. And then real estate agents definitely have a ton of cash buyers. I'll show you some hacks how to do that. Then X-Leads is a disposition software that will pull the cash buyers for you, which is pretty dang cool. And so pretty much the only tool that I would really use in X-Leads right here. So really the only tool I'd use for local wholesaling, honestly, is gonna be X-Leads. And maybe if you want to go nuts, I would tell you maybe bandit signs if you're crazy and you want to test it out. I think that'd be a pretty good tool. Maybe like a bandit sign stapler, staple that on a wooden pole. That's just me, right? But this is what local wholesaling looks like, right? And to give you a better visualization, right? Because it's like, I can kind of see you like you can see me write it down on the board, but it's like, well, how does the flow of the deals happen with all these business setups, right? Well, let me show you exactly what the flow of a wholesaling real estate deal on local wholesaling looks like, right? Because there's a lot of different flows of how this deal goes, right? I kind of like the squiggly flow, right? And if you're locally wholesaling, this is roughly what it should be looking like, right? So let's kind of get started on the first part, right? Marketing, right? This is when we use the drawing for dollars, the texting, the emailing, the calling, like whatever you want to do, right? This is exactly how we get started. This is the first part of getting a wholesaling deal. And how we do it is we call, text, email, whatever we're going to do, but we go blast out our marketing, right? Then from there, we're going to go qualify and intake all these leads. I like to intake them in the CRM, obviously, if they want to sell, just qualify them. Now, we always use MCTP. We're gonna ask them the motivation, condition, time frame, price. That's our standard scripts for getting wholesaling real estate deals. And then we set the appointment in local wholesaling, right? There's 3 different types of wholesaling businesses here. Now, going back here to making offers, right? I'll tell you right now that making offers is the easy part, right? Because they're conditioned. They already make a yes or no decision. That's part of our acquisitions process here. And we just make an offer, right? We wanna focus on lowballing, right? That's why I made my artwork of lowballs right here, because we just want to lowball. Lowball, lowball, lowball. One really good piece of advice I give to anyone looking to actually make offers is go for the no. Your offer should get an instant no from the seller. You negotiate, get the best price. Squeeze the largest assignment you possibly can out of the deal, because easier to squeeze more meat on the bone for a wholesale deal for us through the seller side by lowballing them more than it is trying to get a better buyer. Because most buyers are in the same price range. It's really hard to get them to overpay. But for a seller to lowball them and get more of a discount, easier with a motivated seller with a motivated situation. Now going back here to number 4, once we make that offer, they accept it, we're gonna have them sign the contract and we're gonna send it to the title company. Pretty simple. Then from there, we're gonna go find some cash buyers. I drew what I thought a rich cash buyer looks like. They usually have a baseball cap, a beard, and money spewing out of their hands, right? But yeah, that's basically my unique artwork of a cash buyer in 2025. Then from there, once we find our cash buyer and they're good to go, we're gonna walk them through the property. So a little pointing towards a house. And then from there, we get the assignment signed and we close on the deal and make our money, right? So how does this flow look like for virtual wholesaling, right? Well, this flow is a tad different, right? We do our marketing, we qualify, and what we do is we kind of mix 2 and 3 together, right? So what we're gonna do in virtual wholesaling is we're gonna remove the appointment, and qualifying an offer can kind of be at the same time. They're basically merged together, so they're both kind of 2 together. I know it's kind of weird, but we basically merge the qualifying and the offers together, and then we get the contract signed, find the buyer, virtually walk them through and close, right? Now, what I tell you is we're gonna add an extra step here, and it kind of merges it, but number 3 is going to be pics of the house. Then it goes here to number 4, right? So we get our boots on the ground to go take pictures of the property, and then we get the contract sent to title. Now, you're going to sign the contract on step 3 too. So to make this even easier, and find the buyer, walk through, close, right? So again, for virtual wholesaling, I know I kind of just mixed the style up, but to make this simple, right, we're gonna go market, we're gonna qualify, make the offer, and then once they accept the offer, we're gonna get it signed, then we're gonna send somebody to take pics, send it to title, find cash buyer, walk our cash buyer through, and then close on the deal. Now, for a JV, right, how's the flow of a JV operation work? Well, it's actually pretty similar to this. First thing we do is we go find people who have JV deals. They come to us, we qualify the deal, and we basically eliminate the offer part, right? But we'll go sign the JV contract and make sure we have pictures, send the JV agreement to the title company, find a cash buyer, walk them through, and close, right? So JVing kind of eliminates the offer part, but that's what a JV operation basically looks like. So kind of going back here on business systems for JVs, right? I would tell you X-Leads and Podio are pretty much the same here, and especially on a virtual wholesaling operation. The CRM really doesn't change. When it comes to lists, we're gonna eliminate earned list here, right? We're only gonna add an extra part here because this works for pretty much all of these, but we're gonna add here for lists is we're gonna add JV lists. And we might be like, Zach, what in the world is a JV list? Well, one unique concept in virtual wholesaling I came up with, and I tell everyone to do, I mean, just copy it, I don't care. Let's say you live in Sweden and you're wholesaling in Richmond, Virginia, right? You physically can't get in your car and drive for dollars in Virginia, but there is something you can do. You can find somebody who lives in Virginia that does not want to cold call, they do not want to text, maybe they don't have much money, but at least they got a car. What you can do is you can offer a deal with somebody to JV. So a lot of this happens in zachdiscord.com, my free Discord, or inside of freewholesaling.com, right? Or any of the live streams we have, or even the comment section here, right? They'll say, hey, bro, you drive for dollars in Virginia, and then you can use my X-Leads account for Drawing for Dollars or any other Drawing for Dollars app, right? And say you add the ugly houses you find and then send them to me. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip trace it, and I'm gonna call it, and I'm gonna close the seller, and then you just be my boots on the ground and work 50-50. What you provide is Drawing for Dollars leads. I will go do the marketing, I'll close the seller, and you just be the boots on the ground for me. That's what I call like a JV list. It works really, really well, and you make a ton of money doing this. Now again, skip tracing is gonna be the exact same here for virtual wholesaling. Marketing systems are the same for virtual wholesaling, except the only marketing system for JVs is going to be basically social media. Social media and basically what I call rep or reputation. If you're doing JVs, you need a really, really good reputation, and you just don't screw people on deals, you're good to go, right? So you can ask anybody in the comment section or on freewholesaling.com, hey, has anyone here JV'd with me? And they'll say yes. Well, did Zach screw you? No, I don't have one person I've screwed on a JV deal. I've always brought the deal to the finish line, and we're good to go. Now, how do you find JV deals, right? I would just go inside my social medias or any of my communities, which are absolutely free. zachdiscord.com and freewholesaling.com, you'll find plenty of people. Now, when it comes to closing methods, right? There's no closing for JVs, but with closing on virtual, right? Kind of like I showed you on the flow of the deal here, you're basically just going to offer ASAP, which means you just make an offer right then and there. I definitely recommend you still condition the seller for a yes or no decision, which we teach in freewholesaling.com, but you can't set the appointment the next day. And if you get an inbound call or you call them, they're looking to sell, ask them some more questions about the property, right? Still go through MCTP, and then boom, you can give them an offer on the property right there. You gotta be a lot more quicker in virtual wholesaling. You could still get off the phone and call them back the next day if that's something like you really want to do. You gotta gauge motivation. But I'm telling more people more and more, especially how the wholesaling real estate industry is in 2025, speed is going to be everything. And then Dispo, again, Dispo works the same and the tools are going to be the same. Now, the only thing I'd probably add on this that I haven't said before, but the only difference between scaling this up even more is probably adding employees. So first employee, obviously you're going to be VAs for your marketing, then VAs for your Dispo, and then maybe a VA junior acquisitions manager or a lead follow-up specialist. And then from there, you get in-person employees for acquisitions, you get virtual employees for acquisitions, virtual for dispositions. then you start adding extra people to the operation and you'll start making a ton more money. If you're somebody who's doing a lot of JVs, right, you can add a lot of underwriters and dispositions people, and that should kind of fill you up. Then maybe like an admin person, and definitely 100% for JVs, a bunch of transaction coordinators. I'd say for every 10 contracts you have, you should probably get at least one transaction coordinator, maybe 20 if you're crazy. And that'll help you a lot for JVs or your local and virtual wholesaling operations. But make sure it's all in-house, they're trained from you, and you'll be good to go. So guys, this is how you run a wholesaling real estate business in 2025. You should be able to have a system in place of scheduling out what your marketing is going to be, what your dispo is going to be, the tools you need to do so you can have wholesaling real estate success. The truth is, if you have no money at all, you should at least have a system in place of getting skip tracing for free, a free CRM, and at least knowing exactly where you're going to get a deal so you can get some closings. Guys, got any value from this video, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, go to freewholesaling.com, my free real estate wholesaling course and community, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Zach signing out. Have a blessed one.